In this segment, I want to cover some of the options on the style menu. They're primarily a set of options that allow you to enhance the attractiveness of the models that you create. So first thing I'm going to do is just going to create a couple of uh, primitives here that I can work with. So for the text option on the style menu, you can set the type style and the size, the font color. The line color actually puts a line around the box, and the fill color does a background for it. Now note that you can come over here and you can use this style menu, or you can simply right click on things, and there's a couple of the edit options here at the top, and then the rest of the style options are here on the drop down. It's much more convenient to go ahead and use the option from the drop down than it is to go back, because wherever the object is that you want to work with, it's just easier here. So the same kind of options for the rest of the primitives. You can change the font color that's part of it, the line color, the fill color, and the type and the style that's in it, and bold, underline, italics, and the alignment. This part of it aligns the text where it resides. The bottom part of this has to do with where the text actually resides, so that you could tell it that you want the text on the top, or you could tell it that you want the text on the bottom, depending upon what else you're doing with this object. And you can turn them, a number of cosmetic things that you can do with them. That doesn't change the way that they behave. Now, also note that for links and flows, as we said before, only connect to stocks. You connect them from the stock going outward, and then you can change the direction of them if needs be. And then for links, to connect one primitive to another. For links, you have the option of being able to define whether or not it's a solid line or a dashed line, and the width, where is it, the line width, make it 6, and then the color of it. And if you then go ahead and select it and hold the shift key, you can put waypoints on it and curve it as you need to go from point to point. So it just allows you to go ahead and get away from the standard just black and white dashed lines. The other thing is, any one of the primitives, except text, you can add an image to it, so that if you right click on it and go to primitive picture, you can select from a set of built-in images, but the list of images is a bit restrictive. There are just tons and tons of images that one might use. But if you were to those, you can click on this, and there's a bunch of them, so that you could go ahead and make this a house. Though you might want to go here, to go to Google and say something like %, and then look at images, and here are just a ton of images about %. You click on this, tell it you want to view the image, and notice that this is a PNG file, so that if you copy this URL and go back here, select this, go to picture and do custom image, it gives you a dialog box where you can fill in the URL, and you then have an image. So let me now go ahead and tell it that I want to put the text at the bottom. So I now have a %sign, so that it's very indicative that this particular variable represents a % for something. When you go to Google and do searches, you find images, be sure that you find URLs that are orderly. There's a lot of places in Google where they're cached misdirects to items that may or may not actually be there. So just be sure you find an orderly URL that ends in PNG or GIF or JPEG, something of that nature. SVGs work also. So that gives you the option of being able to go ahead and assign a picture to it, or you can go ahead and take the picture away if you don't want an image. So, oh, and if you do images, note that down here you can also flip the images vertical and horizontally. So that's a set of styling options that you can use to improve the visual impact of the models that you develop. The way that the model initially comes across to people has a lot to do with the extent to which they understand it or are turned off by it, which is the last thing you want. So hope you found this informative, and I'll see you in the next segment. Bye.